The night air tastes like smoke and wet stone. On the ramparts of Eger, torchlight flickers over faces gray with dust, hands raw from hauling buckets and shot. Below, the Ottoman Empire has turned the valley into a moving sea tents, fires, and ranks that seem to have no edge. Drums begin, slow at first, then faster, until the sound presses against the walls like a second siege. In the darkness, cannon crews roll iron mouths into place. A fuse hisses. The first blast punches the fortress, and the stone answers with a dull, sickening crack. A breach is already forming, one ugly split widening with each hit, each tremor. Janissaries gather beneath their banners, silent and disciplined, waiting for the signal to surge. Up top, fewer than 2,000 defenders, soldiers, townsfolk, anyone who can carry a pike brace at the gate as if their bodies could become the hinge. They hear ladders scraping forward. They hear the chant rise, not loud yet, but certain. When the next volley lands, a section of wall slumps, and the Ottoman assault line starts to run. So how does a fortress held by 2,000 stand when 40,000 Ottoman troops finally hit the stone like a tide? Rewind to the days before the breach. In 1552, the Ottoman Empire is pushing hard into a broken Hungary, where old borders have become scars, and every fortress is a locked door on the road north. Buda has already fallen years earlier. The center of the kingdom is under Ottoman rule, while Habsburg-held Royal Hungary clings to the west in the highlands. Between them lies a belt of stone strong points. Take the belt, and the map opens. Eger sits on that line like a stubborn nail. It guards routes toward the rich mining towns of Upper Hungary and the passes that lead deeper into Central Europe. If Eger collapses, panic can spread faster than any cavalry lords may surrender, garrisons may flee, and the next cities may open their gates before the Ottoman army even arrives. That is why Ottoman commanders bring a field army that seems absurd against one fortress, and why they expect the walls to break quickly under cannon and discipline. Inside, Captain Istvan Dobo counts every barrel, every arrow, every able hand, and knows there will be no relief in time. But the weapon the Ottomans trust most is about to turn against their plan. The defenders of Eger are not a grand royal host. They are a patchwork. Hardened soldiers, local militia, craftsmen pulled from workshops, and women carrying water, stones, and powder where it is needed most. The fortress itself is strong, but not perfect. Thick walls, towers, and a cathedral turned into a fighting platform, yet parts of the outer defenses are unfinished. Everyone inside understands the same simple truth. If the Ottoman Empire takes this place, the frontier does not just move, it collapses. Outside the walls, the Ottoman camp runs like a machine. The siege train arrives with heavy guns, engineers, and the kind of manpower that can dig trenches as if carving a new river. Cavalry screens the countryside, supply carts roll in, commanders read the terrain and start drawing invisible lines. Where to place batteries, where to cut off wells, where to push sappers under the walls. Their confidence is not arrogance, it is experience. Most fortresses do not survive when the Ottoman army has time, cannon, and space. Dobo answers with speed and improvisation. He strengthens weak points with earth and timber, shifts men constantly to hide thin sections, and drills counterattacks like sudden door slams. He cannot match numbers. So he plans to break rhythm, turn every expected Ottoman move into a surprise cost. Then scouts bring the report that changes the air inside Eger. The main Ottoman assault force is closer than anyone feared, and the first guns are already being emplaced. When the Ottoman Empire arrives in force, the hills around Eger disappear under movement. Standards ripple above packed ranks. Horses stamp in tight lines. Engineers pace the ground like surveyors, already choosing where the earth will be cut into trenches and where the guns will sit to pound the same stones again and again. Commanders send riders to seal the roads, choking the fortress from the outside so no message, no mule cart, no desperate runner can slip through. Then the siege becomes a ritual the Ottomans have perfected. Batteries roll forward, crews stack shot, and the first test rounds walk their way across the walls. Each impact is both damage and a message. This is what patience looks like when it has 40,000 hands. At the same time, sappers begin their quiet work, digging under cover of night and smoke, trying to reach the foundations where stone cannot fight back. If a wall can't be climbed, it can be hollowed. Inside Eger, Dobo refuses the language of surrender. He turns fear into routine, shifts on the parapets, powder measured like medicine, repairs made in the dark before dawn can reveal the cracks. The defenders do not pretend they can win a long siege. They only need to deny the Ottoman army a clean victory day after day until confidence turns to frustration. And the first strike would not come from the cannons. At dawn, the Ottoman Empire tightens the noose. Trenches creep closer in jagged lines, wicker screens rising like portable walls. The big guns settle into the soil, and the first true bombardment begins measured, relentless, always returning to the same sections as if the cannons can smell weakness. Stone chips fly, dust rolls off the battlements in pale clouds. Every impact makes the fortress feel smaller. From the valley, the siege looks orderly. Ranks kneeling to reload, officers pointing with calm hands, banners steady in the wind. On the wall, it's chaos in inches. Defenders drag timbers to brace a cracked parapet, shovel earth into gaps, and pass water upward in a chain that never stops. When an outer section buckles, Dobo shifts men without hesitation, hiding thin lines behind noise and smoke. Then the first ladders come forward under covering fire. Janissaries move in tight clusters, shields up, boots splashing through churned mud. The defenders wait until the last moment, then a storm of rocks, shot, and burning pitch pours down. Ladders tilt. Men stumble back into the press. For a heartbeat, it looks like the assault breaks. But there is a problem. Beneath the shouting, a different sound begins, dull, rhythmic, like a giant tapping from inside the earth. And the defenders realize the next attack may not come over the wall at all. The tapping becomes its own kind of clock. In the vaulted cellars beneath Eger, defenders press ears to cold stone, holding their breath until they catch it. Scrape, 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 Ottoman sappers chewing forward in the dark. Above them, the Ottoman Empire keeps firing on schedule, a brutal metronome meant to hide the underground work. Every boom on the surface is a curtain pulled across the real threat. Dobo answers with countermines. Men with lanterns and pickaxes dig narrow shafts into the earth, chasing sound like hunters following tracks. The air turns sour, the tunnels sweat. A wrong turn means collapse. A right turn means contact two worlds, separated by a thin wall of dirt. Out on the parapets, the camera would pull wide, siege lines tightening, trenches crawling closer, flags steady in morning haze. Then it snaps to ground level, one exhausted defender in a tunnel, knuckles white on a shovel handle, listening for the next scrape. When the tapping suddenly speeds up, panic ripples through the fortress. That means the Ottomans are close, too close. A desperate night sortie races out of a side gate, a burst of shadows meant to burn the nearest trench works and buy hours. Torches flare, shots crack. The raiders return with smoke on their clothes and a new fear in their eyes. Because the tapping didn't stop. It moved. And now it sounds like it's directly under the weakest wall. The Ottoman Empire shifts from testing the walls to breaking them on command. Batteries stop wandering and lock onto one seam of stone, hammering the same spot until the fortress seems to flinch. In the trenches, soldiers pack earth tighter, raising screens higher, turning the approach into a protected corridor. It looks like patience, but it's a setup. Inside Eger, Dobo reads the pattern and knows what it means. The cannons are not the main act anymore. They are the distraction for the mine. In the tunnels, the scraping returns with a steadier rhythm. Closer, deeper, then suddenly, quiet. That silence is worse than noise. It means the Ottoman sappers have reached their chamber and are loading it. On the walls, the defenders work like ants inside a shaken nest. Wet hides are thrown over timber to smother sparks. Barrels are dragged into place for firefighting. When ladders surge forward again, the defenders don't waste shot. They drop stones, shove poles, pour scalding water, anything to keep hands off the parapet for one more minute. They are buying time they don't have. Then a thin crack opens in the ground near the targeted wall, like the earth taking a breath. And every veteran inside Eger understands the same terrifying choice. Hold the line up top, or gamble everything on a final desperate counter dig before the mine goes off. Midnight turns the fortress into a listening post. In the basements, men lie flat on cold flagstones, eyes shut, counting heartbeats between faint scrapes. Above them, Ottoman gunners keep the cannon talking just enough noise to hide a shovel's bite. Dobo makes a brutal call. A small team will go down into the earth and meet the mine head-on. Lanterns move like fireflies through cramped shafts. Counterminers dig toward the sound, then stop and press palms to the soil. A whisper of air, a soft tremor. They are close. One defender drives an iron spike into the wall between tunnels and listens for the reply. For a moment, nothing, then a muffled knock answers back. The enemy is inches away. They break through in a burst of dust, and the world becomes breath and panic. Voices shout in Turkish and Hungarian, pickaxes swing, timbers splinter. No room to run, no room to form ranks. Someone jams a plank into the gap, trying to choke the passage. Someone else dumps wet earth, hunting for a fuse that may already be burning. Above ground, the Ottoman Empire's banners hold steady in torchlight, waiting. And under the weakest wall of Eger, a silence returns so complete it feels like the earth is holding its breath. Dawn reveals what the night almost hid. One section of wall sags, not shattered, but wounded stone bulging outward where the earth beneath has been carved away. In the trenches, Ottoman officers point with calm certainty. The Ottoman Empire has done this before. Soften the wall, silence the defenders, then send the janissaries through the moment the breach opens. Inside Eger, the counterminers stumble back into daylight, faces smeared with clay, hands trembling from the tunnel fight. They bought time, maybe hours, maybe minutes. Dobo doesn't ask which. He orders the weak section packed with earth, timbers, carts, anything that can turn broken stone into a barrier again. On the parapet, defenders line up in layers. Some with firearms, some with bows, some with nothing but pikes and will. Then the blast finally comes, not the clean collapse the Ottomans expected, but a violent heave that cracks masonry and coughs dust into the sky. The wall doesn't fall all at once. It splits. It leans. It becomes a jagged ramp. That is enough. Drums accelerate. The Ottoman assault surges forward, thousands moving toward fewer than 2,000 defenders. And as the first helmets appear in the smoke at the broken edge, a second, deeper tremor shudders under the fortress like another mind waking up. The breach becomes a mouth, coughing dust and smoke as it opens wider. From the trenches, the Ottoman Empire drives its best infantry forward in waves that don't hesitate. Janissaries climbing over shattered stone, shields up, eyes fixed on the inner yard. The camera pulls wide, thousands pressing toward one torn seam of wall, banners snapping, drums hammering the pace. Then it drops to ground level, where defenders fight in a blur of splinters, grit, and breath. Dobo turns the broken ramp into a trap. Barrels are rolled, beams shoved down, stones drop with brutal timing. Women and boys rush water and ammunition through narrow passages, passing loads hand to hand while arrows hiss overhead. A burst of smoke blooms as defenders throw small clay pots, packed with powder, into the densest cluster. More noise and flame than slaughter, but enough to break a clean formation and force the attackers to stumble. In the chaos, a rumor spreads through the Ottoman ranks. The defenders are drinking bull's blood, dark wine staining mouths and beards, making them look unbreakable. It's nonsense, but in a siege, nonsense can bite. And today, doubt lands like another weapon. Then the defenders feel the worst sign of all. The cannon fire shifts. Not away sideways. The Ottoman guns begin walking their shots toward a different stretch of wall, as if preparing a second breach. The Ottoman Empire changes the shape of the battlefield without moving the fortress an inch. While the main assault pins defenders at the breach, engineers and gunners silently redirect pressure to another sector, one less damaged, less watched, less reinforced. The cannon rhythm becomes deceptive, a few rounds on the breach to keep eyes fixed, then heavier shots slamming a fresh wall face. Stone flares with white dust. A parapet cracks. Somewhere, a bell in the town below rings once, shaken by impact. Dobo understands the danger immediately. Eger cannot defend everywhere at once. Every man moved to the new threat weakens the breach, and every man left at the breach risks losing the second wall before anyone notices. He splits his force anyway, because the Ottoman plan is clear. Make the defenders feel safe in one place, then tear open the other. On the Ottoman side, commanders expect the usual pattern: panic, then collapse, then surrender. Instead, they watch defenders sprint through smoke to plug the new damage with earth and timber, working under fire as if the wall itself is a living thing they refuse to let bleed out. The Ottoman assault surges again at the breach, trying to catch the fortress mid-shift. For a moment, it almost works. A cluster of janissaries gains the top of the rubble ramp, flags appearing above the broken stone. The defenders hesitate one heartbeat, then two, and that hesitation could be enough to end everything, because a third sound begins in the background. Not drums, not cannon, but horns, signaling a coordinated push from another direction. Horns cut through smoke like blades. From the Ottoman Empire's lines, a fresh assault moves toward a gate sector the defenders can't fully see from the breach. The plan is classic and cruel. Force the fortress to split attention, then strike where the defenders are thinnest. Dust hangs in the air, turning morning light into a dirty veil. Inside Eger, runners collide in narrow corridors, shouting directions that vanish under cannon thunder. Dobo throws a counterpunch. A small force bursts out of a hidden exit in the outer works, not to win the field, but to wreck the timing. They slam into trench crews, torching wicker screens, overturning ladders, spiking a gun carriage before Ottoman cavalry can react. For a few minutes, the siege lines lose their neat geometry. Orders overlap. Signals blur. The defenders race back inside before the trap closes. At the breach, the fight becomes a staircase of bodies and stones still PG 13 inches. The telling, but brutal in effort. Pikes jab, shields buckle. Men fall back, then surge forward again, fighting for a single step of ground. The Ottoman commanders expected terror. Instead, they get stubborn rhythm, as if the fortress has decided it will not be rushed. Then the weather shifts. A sudden gust drives smoke back into the defenders' faces. Visibility drops. The breach turns into a gray tunnel where shapes appear too late. And through that murk, the Ottoman Empire sends a concentrated push, an attempt to plant a flag inside the inner yard and break morale in one strike. For a few terrifying minutes, the Ottoman Empire almost makes the breach mean something final. In the smoke, a tight cluster of janissaries punches through the rubble ramp and spills into the inner space beyond, where the defenders' line is thinner and the ground is flatter. From the outside, it would look like victory standards rising, disciplined ranks finally inside the fortress. Inside, it feels like a nightmare in slow motion. Defenders see the silhouettes and understand what happens next if they hesitate. The gap becomes a doorway, and the doorway becomes a flood. Dobo doesn't chase the attackers with a messy rush. He cages them. Doors slam shut on side passages. Barricades are dragged into place. Crossfire angles appear from windows, corners, and broken stairwells the Ottomans didn't know existed. The trapped Ottoman force tries to push deeper, but the space is wrong for them: tight, uneven, unfamiliar. The defenders surge in short bursts, then fall back, then surge again, using the fortress like a weapon. The janissaries fight their way to a small rise of ground and hold it, waiting for support that can't arrive fast enough through the smoke and chaos. Outside, Ottoman commanders see their men inside and order the next wave forward, confident the defenders will crack now. But the defenders do something the Ottomans do not expect. They strike the breach itself, not the men beyond it, trying to collapse the ramp and isolate the intruders completely. If the ramp breaks at the wrong moment, the Ottoman Empire loses its foothold. If it doesn't, Eger may lose everything. The final day does not begin with shouting. It begins with a strange stillness, the Ottoman Empire holding its breath across the trenches. Then the guns speak all at once. Cannon smoke rolls up the hillside in thick waves, and the battered breach shakes again, stones grinding like teeth. Ottoman drums surge into a single, relentless beat, one more push, one decisive flood. Janissaries charge the rubble ramp in a compact mass, shields locked, stepping over broken masonry as if climbing a ruined staircase. For a moment, their discipline works. They crest the breach. They wedge into the inner space. A banner rises through the smoke, and the fortress seems to tilt toward collapse. Then Dobo springs the trap with perfect timing. Defenders slam a barricade into the breach's mouth, while others strike the ramp from above, dumping beams, carts, and loose stone until the slope crumbles into a choking slide. The Ottoman foothold inside is suddenly cut off from its own momentum. Smoke clears just enough to reveal the terrible geometry. Attackers trapped in the wrong pocket of ground, defenders firing and surging in short bursts from corners they control. The last assault breaks, not in one dramatic collapse, but in a slow retreat measured in steps. Ottoman horns call men back. Drums fade. By evening, the trenches feel emptier. Fires burn lower. In the gray quiet after the thunderclap, the field is littered with abandoned ladders, shattered screens, and silent cannon crews staring at walls that still stand. When the Ottoman Empire pulls back from Eger, it isn't because the siege lacked power. It's because the fortress refused to give the clean victory the campaign demanded. The guns go quiet, trenches stop creeping forward, campfires thin, and the valley that once looked endless suddenly looks exhausted. Inside the walls, there is no celebration at first, only the stunned silence of people still listening for drums that aren't there. They patch cracks with trembling hands and count the living like a prayer. Eger's survival slams a door on the road north. For Hungary and its allies, it becomes proof that the Ottoman Empire can be delayed, even when outnumbering a fortress almost beyond belief. For the Ottoman command, it is a warning that stone and will can turn numbers into a problem instead of a guarantee. The story spreads faster than armies. Fewer than 2,000 defenders holding against roughly 40,000 attackers, not by magic, but by timing, countermines, and a fortress used like a weapon. And yet the struggle doesn't end here. Decades later, Eger would face another siege and another fate. But in 1552, the wall holds, and with it, a line on the map holds too. Sometimes history turns on a gate that never opens.